In Kandiyohi County near Wilmer, Kim Larson carries on a farming tradition started by his family more than 100 years ago.
These two places were both owned by my grandfather, Pete Larson. I'm a fourth generation farmer. My great-grandfather immigrated from Norway in the late 1800s. It's less than 200 acres a century ago. Now we have been as large as 1,650 acres. Still had livestock on the farm. The two major watersheds that we deal with from our farm drainage goes into both the Shakopee Creek as well as the Hawk Creek watershed, which also ends up into the Minnesota River. Kandiyohi County has 361 lakes that are over 10 acres in size. Not everybody that lives out on those lakes wants to deal with agricultural dust or agricultural smells from livestock. Back in 1985, I was involved in a hearings for wetland protection. I was a little concerned how the government was reacting to the water, my water on my farm. And I was taken back a little bit by the response that federal official made at the time when he said, "Mr. Larson, you have to first remember that this is not just your water, it's the public's water." And I've never forgotten. I think he's entirely right. I think one of the things that is not understood is the fact that the wetlands in the state of Minnesota really reside in the hands of the public, and the vast majority of that is controlled by farmers. We pretty much store it for free. There's no compensation, we just have to do it. Agriculture does try to do its part in improving and enhancing these opportunities for wetland and waterfowl production habitat areas, and in the late 1980s, when the Conservation Reserve Program was formed, we entered a portion of the farm into that program at that time. We have ramped up to some degree over the years, and currently have about 20% of our farm into the Conservation Reserve Program. 88.3 total acres of wetland and outlying areas. These federal programs are very valuable because it is just that enough incentive to do a better job of enhancing what's already existing beyond what that individual producer can really justify. What you see right here is part of my farm that is CRP. There was a lot of things about this particular parcel that just made it cumbersome to farm, and the CRP payment was attractive enough to look at. After the CRP was put into place, we came back and added wetland restoration here. And so this embankment here is kind of the control structure that the tile was broken that came down and drained through this area, and then these wetlands then were added. The yellow lined area is actually the current CRP filter strips. It's an enhanced grass area that helps to filter that before it enters into a drainage area, and you'll see that kind of borders the wetland itself. The darker green is either current CRP or pasture land that just maintained in grass. We've incorporated food plots for the deer. You'll see a corn food plot over here that's about 1.5 acres in size, and that's one of about a half a dozen different food plots that we've incorporated into the CRP. We like this conservation area right here. So the watershed really comes through this wetland itself and into an open drainage here that ends up into an open stream and down into a neighboring land that has put together the CREP program that has filtered out a lot of that drainage, and you should be proud of that, Todd.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was the first CREP program.
Yeah.
At the time it was a good program because that farm had a lot of wetlands that couldn't be drained. So the program fit the farm. Been in about 11 years. So the upkeep involved is really enormous, and you don't get paid to do that. You can't use it for any other purpose but for conservation. And that farm has 6 ponds.
So this is the first holding portion. This is the control structure to control the water at the levels that he needs water to flow from this holding pond into actually 3 more holding ponds below this. Some of the algae that remains over here because of the sediment is held back, nutrients are captured. When it comes across here, it's through one step of filtration before it gets down to the lake already.
It's worked out. It's definitely good for wildlife.
Excellent little hunting pond as well as a environmental enhancement of controlling water runoff and filtering it out. And the CREP program was a great tool for the environment and for agriculture to try to come together and work together. And it's the kind of thing that farmers try to apply a lot of the public doesn't realize. Okay, Joey. Okay. I hunted this particular wetland with my dad, and almost like a holiday, and even if we're into harvest, we'll take off a day or two just to take part in the season opener. Here we are today, getting ready to have grandchildren be a part of that hunting experience. And I guess I know I want it to be here for us, not only for my grandchildren, but for their grandchildren as well. It is a great feeling.